Well, the World Health Organization is reviewing their guidelines on wearing masks in public after new evidence has indicated it may have helped curb the spread in countries like Hong Kong. Now, until now, the World Health Organization has discouraged mask use, but with so much from the WHO, it's hard to know if they can even be trusted anymore. Sky News host...
When the world is threatened by an outbreak of a deadly coronavirus from China, who are you going to call? No. Who? The World Health Organization. I can see how that could be confusing. Let's just stick with WHO.
The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, they called it wrong. They really called, I would say, every aspect of it wrong.
And I can see how the WHO's response to the coronavirus could also be confusing, because it's hard to understand how the main global organization charged with handling it could have screwed up so badly.
From the beginning, World Health Organization officials have praised China's response to coronavirus. They've repeated the country's lies as fact to the rest of the world. Initially, China claimed that the coronavirus could not be transmitted from person to person, even though doctors in Wuhan knew otherwise, and it was obviously untrue. The World Health Organization, though, told that lie to the world, and that hindered global preparation to contain the virus. They made it worse, not better.
Não há grande probabilidade de chegar vírus destes a Portugal. Mesmo na China, o surto foi contido, porque o mercado foi encerrado, que não há, de facto, evidência de transmissão fácil entre pessoas.
They were supposed to be an organization the world could trust. Instead, all they've been doing is spreading Chinese Communist Party propaganda from day one. They haven't done any independent fact-checking, and they deserve blame for this, as does China. Look at this. January 14th, that's late in the game by this point. World Health Organization tweets, quote, Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the virus. If they had any sense, they would have known that's not true. They'd done their own research. They would have known in 5 minutes that's not true.
E dos indicadores que nos deixa tranquilos em relação à provável contaminação pessoa a pessoa, contagiosidade pessoa a pessoa, é que os profissionais de saúde que trataram estes doentes, até à data, nenhum profissional de saúde adoeceu.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
Sadly, we can't trust anything coming from China's government, so here are the facts. As early as December, high-ranking Chinese officials, they actually silenced the doctors on the front lines and the journalists, if you even can say they have journalists, they don't have freedom of the press, who bravely tried to tell the truth to the entire world, give the important information, vital information to the world about the coronavirus. Now, many of those doctors who put their lives at risk, they are dead. They died trying to save others in their country and worldwide.
They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. And they should have known. And they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully.
On December 31st, Taiwan reported to the WHO that Taiwanese doctors had heard from Chinese doctors that medical workers treating people with the coronavirus were getting sick. That's a sign of human-to-human transmission. But it seems that the WHO ignored that information. On January 14th, the WHO tweeted that preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus. Chinese officials didn't publicly announce any cases of human-to-human transmission until January 20th. That's 3 weeks after Taiwan had tried to report it to the WHO.
A propagação, a eventual propagação, não é uma hipótese neste momento a ser equacionada. Portanto, tudo indica que o surto está controlado. Portanto, neste momento não há nenhum motivo para alarme, nenhum motivo sequer para alerta.
A lot of health experts are furious at the WHO for their praise of China's response to the coronavirus and their delay in issuing a global emergency. According to Lawrence Gostin, a professor of global health law at Georgetown University, who also provides technical assistance to the WHO, we were deceived. Myself and other public health experts, based on what the World Health Organization and China were saying, reassured the public that this was not serious, that we could bring this under control.
Contain the epidemic. He said he has called on all countries not to spread fake news or encourage stigma. He said the WHO has communicated with companies, including Google, to ensure that the public can get authoritative information from his organization. And he said the WHO is confident that the epidemic will be overcome at an early date.
Bottom line, we don't have to worry about this one, right?
This is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
You don't have to accept my words, just listen to what the World Health Organization had said. It clearly said that the government has took the appropriate action to ensure that this coronavirus does not spread worldwide. It has spread a little, but because it was contained so much in China, that meant that the rest of the world had not been affected as it would have if those measures were not taken.
So, Peter, there you see how the system works. This clown is quoting the World Health Organization to say that they have validated China's reaction, therefore China. So all this mob are all in it together.
A Spanish health official told the public the country would only have a handful of cases. Spain now has the second biggest COVID-19 death toll.
Que tiene que tener un nivel de percepción de riesgo incluso muy bajo. Nosotros creemos que España no va a tener como mucho más allá de algún caso diagnosticado.
Take a look. I mean, go through step by step. They said there's no big deal, there's no big problem, there's no nothing. And then ultimately, when I closed it down, they actually said that I made a mistake in closing it down.
As of now, the first case of the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, can be traced back to November 17, 2019. By the final day of 2019, the number of confirmed cases had risen to 266. But the Chinese officials covered it up until January 20th. That's when Chinese leader Xi Jinping first publicly admitted that the new coronavirus was a thing and that officials should make resolute efforts to curb the virus. On the same day, the official number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus suddenly tripled. And the virus also suddenly spread from Wuhan to several Chinese provinces. And the official number has kept increasing. Not to mention, only after Xi's announcement did Chinese officials also confirm that there was human-to-human transmission. Funny how that happened, almost as if Xi Jinping had given permission to stop the cover-up that totally never happened in the first place. But a full 3 weeks before that, while Xi Jinping was giving his New Year propaganda speech and most people in China had no idea about the coronavirus, Taiwan's leadership was already on the ball.
And on January 18th, when the disease was rapidly spreading in the Wuhan province of China, well, the city hosted a massive potluck dinner with tens of thousands of attendees. It's incomprehensible how dumb that is. It wasn't until January 20th, after the virus already spread all over the world, that China actually admitted the disease was contagious person to person. Now, the 21st of January, we had our first known case here. The 31st, 10 days later, that was the travel ban. I'm getting to that in a second. This is the kind of botched, Chernobyl-like cover-up, sadly predictable for communist governments. Doesn't mean we shouldn't get along with them, but we need to know that they're hostile actors.
Actually, a big part of why Chinese authorities have been able to cover up the CCP virus is because the World Health Organization is so willing to not only go along with, but praise China's coronavirus response.
China took action massively at the epicenter, at the source of the outbreak. This is heroic. The actions of China is making us safer.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't feel a whole lot safer. And keep in mind, Tedros was praising China's authoritarian response to the virus. At the same time, he was criticizing other countries, especially the U.S., for travel bans to and from China.
I said it earlier, we should have actually expressed our respect and gratitude to China for what it's doing. It has already done incredible things to limit the transmission of the virus to other countries. And where respect is due, then you don't punish. Meaning, if anyone is thinking about taking measures, it's going to be wrong. And WHO doesn't recommend and actually opposes any restrictions for travel and trade or other measures against China.
They seem to be very China-centric. That's a nice way of saying it, but they seem to be very China-centric.
Early on, if the WHO had not insisted to the world that China had no pneumonia epidemic, then everybody would have taken precautions. People think the World Health Organization should change its name. It shouldn't be called the WHO. It should be renamed the CHO.
For the last 10 days of January and for the first 10, 15 days of February, the World Health Organization was parroting Beijing's line that no country should enact travel restrictions on China. And that's because there were no travel restrictions, or very few of them, the United States being an exception. What happened was this virus spread even farther around China's borders. So what the WHO has done was it actually helped spread the coronavirus around the world, and it did it on behalf of Beijing.
It's just beyond belief. It's hard to believe those words are true, but they are true. Gordon Cheng, thank you for that.
Thank you, Tucker.
South Korea, Italy, and Iran all have serious outbreaks right now, and their governments all have strong ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Consider this. China's official position is that travel restrictions are an overreaction. And China has criticized the West for spreading negative, twisted falsehoods about the coronavirus. I'll bet certain governments felt political pressure to not take massive action back in January, when the coronavirus could have been more easily stopped.
这些措施与世卫组织的建议严重不符。我们需要事实，而不是恐惧。我们需要科学，而不是 rumor。我们需要团结，而不是 stigma.
And today, the Chinese ambassador to the UK has responded, criticising that decision, saying it was disproportionate and sowed panic.
We advise the British side to take the professional advice of WHO.
Well, I think, quite frankly, it's a bit rich of the Chinese to turn around and say we're overreacting. This is the country that's now got 30,000 people, and there might be as many as 100,000 people who are currently infected with it, and they've knocked up 2 new hospitals with 1,000 beds in each in about 2 weeks. I'd say that's a pretty forceful reaction to what they must perceive to be a pretty critical threat.
Now, WHO's director and general-in-chief is a pretty sketchy individual. No medical training. He's been carrying China's water for months on this. According to a brand new report in The Hill tonight, he turned a blind eye to what has happened in Wuhan and the rest of China after meeting with President Xi in January. And, quote, from the outset, he defended China despite its gross mismanagement of the highly contagious disease, even suggesting that the president's travel ban to and from China was racist.
Good thing no one listened to him. Major world airports set up screening procedures for travelers who had recently been to China. Many airlines simply stopped flights to and from China. You know, it's not a great thing when people ignore the main global organization that's meant to advise everyone on health crises.
Under the cover of coronavirus, the US and its allies are waging war against China. The racist travel bans and media hysteria are not supported or approved by who? China's response to the emergency has been a model. Unlike the US, whose current flu epidemic has killed 10,000 and isn't news. And the idiocy hasn't stopped. Sadly, there are no shortage of pundits in the West willing to push China's narratives or try to use this worldwide crisis to defeat their ideological foes. And what they hate most is any mention of this virus's origins.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
The World Health Organization dubbed this coronavirus COVID-19. This was their reasoning behind the name.
We had to find a name that did not refer to a geographical location.
Some U.S. politicians have linked the novel coronavirus to China. This is a smear of China. We are very angry and strongly oppose it.
Yeah, some U.S. politicians, not going to name names here.
Having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing.
And obviously the WHO wouldn't want to do anything that would hurt the feelings of the Chinese Communist Party.
You have started serious public health measures, and this is very, very important, and really we're proud that. And the other important element is the political commitment and your personal leadership, which we have been following, and also your team, which will help to stop this virus.